know that it's something you really can surmount, especially if you are focused on what it is you want to achieve.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amaka. I'm going to ask Professor Anuja concerning research. I want to use this illustration. I know a little about football anyway, but I've heard that people say Messi is actually born with an innate nature to play football very well, while Ronaldo has to really work very hard to play. But so I know when it comes to research, some people have a natural, intuition or with a natural skill to just click on research. But I want you to please tell us or advise us how we can actually develop, or what did you do to develop the skills in research?
So that's a great question. So, and actually Rebecca is going to be coming up here, Dr. Wong soon, who's going to be talking about research. But to develop interest in research, and I think there's two different kinds, right? So there's clinical research and then there's basic research. I think initially it's easier to start with clinical research, and then it's more interest. Key is to start off, how are my patients doing, right? And that's the first question you ask. Am I doing the right things and then answer that? And then that leads to, why are these patients doing better than these patients? And that leads to further and further. So it's really interesting. In Nigeria, and we've talked about it with one of your other colleagues, is we look, and one of my colleagues is doing swabs. And what we're doing is looking at the microbiome to see why is this one cervix patient who looks just like this one doing better. And we've actually found something. But it came from us looking at our data. So that's how you start off. It's first looking at seeing how your patients are doing and then finding out, okay, why did this one patient do better than the other? And that leads to the next, to the next.
Thank you very much.
Just to add to what she said, for those that are really thinking about research, it's great to, like she said, why are these patients doing better? But I think that for us in Africa, Nigeria, especially, we should also begin to talk about how we can implement some of the evidences that the rest of the world turns out into our local environment, because context actually matters a lot. So, and that is a new area that I think should be the forefront of young oncologists as they come into play, and that's implementation science research. How can we implement these interventions in our society? How can we contextualize it? How can we adapt it without losing the essence of that particular intervention? So please, let's also begin to think seriously about it, build capacity around it, because the truth of the matter is that if we are able to implement what is already known, then I think the statistics says that 70% of the problems are already solved.
Okay, Amaka, I have one last question for you as we round up. You're a leader. There are lots of people here who aspire to be leaders in one way or the other. What are some of the qualities? What are some of the qualities that a leader should have? And how will you advise the young ones coming up?
So I think it's good to aspire to be a leader, but I think what should be at the beginning of that career path or that intention to be a leader, we can't see that, so we don't know where we are. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. I just wanted to point that out so that we don't lose track of time. So I will quickly round up. So for those that want to be leaders, I'd advise that you don't go thinking about, oh, I want to be a leader, and that is your yardstick. I think the thing is to see problems around you and solve them. And as you keep solving small problems, you find it leads you to bigger problems, and then, bigger ones. And then once you take on the really huge, large ones, then you will be a leader. So some of the things that will help you as a leader is patience, dedication, passion. Like Anuja said, you can't be a leader without being passionate about that thing you want to be leading or that thing you want to excel in. Balancing and managing relationships. Teamwork. Knowing that you really can't do it all alone. People are at different spaces at different times. Sometimes as human beings, we may have really high, unrealistic expectations of your team members. Understand where they are at that point in time and bridge the gap for that time. They just might come around the next time. But I think one of the hardest things about being a leader is actually managing relationships. Keeping your eyes on the ball and managing relationships. I think those, for me, will be the two things that are.
Two things. One, don't overextend yourself. And key is what Emeka said, know how to delegate. That's really important. You can't do it all. So you've got to delegate and have good people that you can delegate to.
Wow, thank you very much. That has been a great session. From the floor, especially, yes, our young oncologists, yes.
Good morning. As usual, my name is Dr. Gaddafi Yusuf from Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital Zaria. And thank you so much for the discussions and then motivation, both in leadership and in skills. Mine is, I want to especially thank Prof. Anuja for at least the residents in Zaria are sending the regards to you, that at one time, out of her tight schedules, she organized some conference sessions to residents, which is highly commendable. And we look forward to have more sessions, not only for Zaria residents, but for all other residents in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment.
One more.
Good morning, senior colleagues and colleagues. My name is Sulaiman Alabi Yunus from National Hospital. I want to also thank our senior colleague on the podium. But the question is actually to the prof. You know, there are different ways of mentoring junior ones. In your own area, what's your own pattern or scope of mentoring your junior colleagues, please? No, just brief one.
So the question is, how do I mentor my colleagues? Is that okay?
I think the junior ones.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So for my residents, right? We actually, all of them have to do a project. They actually have a year off in their residency to do a project. So that's one of the things that they're required. But key is to mentor them. We lead by example. We help them get projects, give them some ideas on how to do projects. And then we teach them how to do it, and we lead them all the way through, including writing papers. So, that's how you mentor, by leading by example and then providing ways and venues for them to get projects.
Yes, and I think just to add to that, also giving them the opportunity to actually participate, sometimes even take a leadership role, and allow them to make mistakes and learn. That is also another way, because that's how you grow. Yes, thank you.
So thank you. It's been a very engaging and enlightening session, but I'll crave your indulgence to just give us 2 minutes. That's all. Intekin just walked in and was supposed to be among the panelists. Can we just give him the mic? We just want to ask a question in 2 minutes, sir. Thank you so much for coming. We just wanted to share your career as a researcher, your career journey, so that the aspiring young oncologists can learn from you, because a lot of us look up to you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So sorry for being late. I had some transportation delays, but at least it's what I've been looking up to. I'm sure a lot of discussions have been carried out. And then, well, the issue of being a researcher, It's just by maybe decision or so, because we know there are so many tracks that an oncologist can go into. We've heard some have gone into business, some have gone into politics, some have gone into entrepreneurship. So research is also a track that oncologists can go into. Now, the purpose of research is to be able to discover new ways of doing things that is appropriate for our environment. And so in order to do that, one has to be mentored. It is very important for one to be mentored, learning by example. Now, also, one has to be able to read widely and then very, very observant. You have to look at what is happening in the environment and then see what you can do if it is problematic to be able to do that. Now, it also entails a very hard work. Now, research is not taught mostly in our medical schools, but then we have to really be able to identify that one needs to go into research. Sometimes mentors could actually help by introducing us to the field of research. Now, in research, we have to be able to learn new things constantly and then be very much updated. For instance, sometimes there are maybe some ethical issues that you need to be constantly updated. You don't just do one more and then go and sleep. And with that, we also need funding to carry out research, because without funding, it may be a little bit difficult. Sometimes our mentors could support us with the little money they have, that is if they have been able to get grants. But otherwise, we have to learn how to write grants in order to get money. Now, it starts with small grants, as what Arcon has done. I know when I started with a grant with 400,000 naira from the university basic research grant. And from there, I collected the money. Management of grants is also not very easy. That time, there was nobody to teach me how to manage grants. I just put the money in my account, and I was just spending anyhow as if it was my money. Now, at the stage, now the university now wrote me a very long letter that I've not made returns and all those things. So it was an issue. So we need to be closely guided in these things. Now, it's of recent that our university also established a grant management office. By then, it wasn't there. So you also had to do things on your own. And my mentor that time didn't actually want to tamper with the funds. So he didn't even ask me what am I doing with it. So my wife and I started spending the money like that. So at the end, I had to use my salary to make up. So it's a very interesting thing. And of course, collaborations are also very, very important. You have to try and belong to a research group. So, and then so that from there you'll be able to bring ideas. I remember one of the studies that we undertook, I was just in our MD team, and then that time my mentor, Professor Fumi Olakwado from University of Chicago, visited us. So I told her that most of our patients, we have been collecting samples for genomic testing, but they don't have money for treatment. So that we wanted to do a small study, even using the basic drugs like CMF to treat breast cancer that time. So I wrote a protocol, which was like maybe 11 pages. I told her I have a protocol that we want to fund, but we don't have money. So she said, let me look at it. When she looked at it, she just smiled and then kept quiet. And then after like 3 months, she reached out to me that she wants me to learn how to write an industry standard protocol. And then from there, from our D43 grant, I was able to go to Novartis Institute for Biomedical Research in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That was where I thought I learned how to write a research protocol. So from 11 pages that I wrote, we ended up writing a protocol that was almost 150 pages. So that is how it started, and it has been a very tortuous journey. And thereafter, there were so many trainings. She also assisted me to get a K43 grant, whereby she was my mentor, and then we were able to go on. Now the thing is that you have to indicate interest. Once you start, there will be somebody to assist you and then pull you up. And along the line, we also thank people like Professor. Professor Rebecca. who took time to be able to allow us to see how we can mentor our students to be able to go on. So it's a continuous process. I think Professor Alatishe, is he here? Yeah, so I think he just walked into the hall. I know sometimes there are personal expenses. I know one of the times I went for training, I left Nigeria to Switzerland with only 500 euro in my pocket. It was personal funds. So when others were doing shopping and so on, I was just looking at them because I knew that 500 euro cannot do anything. After paying transport from the airport, 40 euro, so many things I couldn't buy. But sometimes it's that initial personal sacrifice. And I must say that research is not an easy thing. One has to sacrifice a lot. I know I met Professor Olatishe in the US. One time he was just hopping from one hospital to the other trying to get research. Those were the beginning years, and I'm sure he will be able to share his experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ntekim. That was really great. We have all learned something from that. I mean, the fun side and the serious side as well. Thank you so much. So I think we'll come to an end. All right, so thank you for our panel, Dr. Noamaka Lashebikon, Dr. Anuja Jingran, Dr. Tara Ntekim. We have enjoyed you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's give the panel a very huge round of applause. Thank you. We want to appeal to our young oncologists and residents at tomorrow, the last session of the Young Oncologists Forum. Please, let's ensure that we are here on time. There's supposed to be a recap now that we could not take because of want of time. Please, let's make it a point of duty to be here on time tomorrow. We want to take a very brief industry presentation now of the radiotherapy in UNTH experience with the variant vital beam by the MediLink. To take the presentation is Mr. Nonna Daniel. I hope I did not murder the name. Thank you very much. They have please let's welcome them with a round of applause. While they're still trying to pull up his slides, I want to especially welcome Professor Alatishe. Prof, we are very privileged to have you in our midst. Thank you very much for the wonderful work you are doing on ARGO. Thank you very much for the wonderful work you are doing in OAU, THC, and globally, and also supporting our oncologists in the team. I know that there's one of us in Memorial, is it Sloan? What is it? Is it MSKCC? Sloan Clayton Cancer Center. I mean, that is, And regularly, for those of us that were not be able to benefit from ARGO, there's, I think it's every week or every 2 weeks or every month meeting. Prof will shed more light on it. And from the comfort of your consulting room or from the comfort of your home, you could actually be able to do MDT with a vast faculty, you get cases. The last one that was done, I think about last week, was colorectal CA that was presented by the Lagos team, and that's the LUT team. And so I mean, the other time it was the Lorry team. So the other time, and also we had I think we had a talk from the team in MSKCC. So I'm sure Professor Latche will shed more light. He has a presentation this morning that definitely is going to be an extremely interesting one. Have you found the slides? Baba, don't you have a copy? Our teacher and our professor, Professor Lasende, good morning, sir. We especially recognize you. Our immediate past president, we're greeting you, especially. I've seen some people that have decided that Nigeria must go forward. In the likes of Claire Omashe, we especially recognize you. 20 years of overcoming challenges, of surmounting hurdles. GNCI have done very well. They supported us on many fronts. Thank you very much, GNCI. We appreciate you wholeheartedly. We're still waiting for them to pull up the slides. The slides are ready. Good. 10 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Nona Daniel Chibuzo. I'm a medical physicist at the radiotherapy unit in UNTH. So this morning I just want to quickly talk to you about our experience so far with the Variant Vital Beam. Next slide, please. Okay, here is my outline. Okay, so coming from a place of 2D, it was important to us when we wanted to make the choice of the machine to purchase that we considered a machine that could give us a pinpoint accuracy and precision, and considering the fact that we have much patients that we treat at our department, it was important also to get a machine that could afford us short treatment time in order to accommodate more patient throughput. So this informed the decision to get the Variant Vital Beam. Also, it was also important for us to get a machine that had the advanced imaging modalities, incorporated in it. Coupled with the fact that the Variant Vital Beam had the MVKV capabilities with the ARMS, the OBI, and the 120 MLC, Millennium MLC, it informed this decision to get this very machine. So at our center, the Variant Vital Beam that we have has 3 photon energies and 4 electron energies. With this, we're able to do our IGRT, IMRT, VMAT, and it comes with the ARIA EMR. Next slide, please. So the choice for the Vital Beam, we considered the following. So it has a sophisticated control system, even with the emergency buttons and everything that it has in it. It also comes because you can actually optimize it to get more energies out of it. We considered this, and also the safety checks, because every 10 milliseconds, the supervisor node carries out automatic checks so that it stops the machines from operating. Also, it gave room for more accessible patient care, because with the machine, it has shorter treatment time, so